Hi friends, today I'm playing with that new product that I kind of shared with you in the What's New in My Art Studio. I'm really excited about this because for me, this is something I love. I love taking my paints with me, and this was just a great way. I'm probably always going to have my little backpack with me with things in it, but this is such a great way to just go in and, like for me, sitting at a coffee shop and I have everything here. I have it over to the side a little bit because I didn't want my light to reflect in the cover here, the plastic cover. So what this is it's a little set. On the front, you've got a clipboard if I wanted to put my paper on here, and then the front opens. And this didn't come with it. It just came like this, but it's really great because you can put all your papers, maybe drawings, instructions, whatever you want to do. It doesn't even have to be used for art, but that's what I'm going to use it for. And I'll tell you this, if you are using the MeiLiang 100% cotton blocks, they fit in here like perfectly. You're not going to fit your Artisto pad. That's going to be too thick, but you could put papers in here. And then let me show you on the inside with the set, they do give you this cold press 7.5 by 7.5 sheets of paper. They fit in here perfectly. And I say perfectly because they also give you this tin with 48 colors. If you have, I swatched these all out, and if you have this tin of the MeiLiang, which I shared a lot last year, it's 48 colors, and it's actually a combination of their 36 palette, which probably most of you have. Love it, you guys. You know, I'm a huge fan of the Paul Rubens MeiLiang. The MeiLiang, by the way, is their student. But the colors are, I'll show you on my swatches, fantastic. The student brand doesn't have the light fastness that the Paul Rubens professional brand does. But this has this palette right up here. Then the 48 palette has the iridescence here, and that's what they give you with this. As you can see, I haven't even used them. I'm going to do a little painting here for us, so I'm just going to wet these. So I unwrapped them all and swatched them out. But what I found is they, to me, seem identical to this kit if you have the MeiLiang with the metallics. All right, so that's that. That's what I'm going to be using today. The other kind of cool thing is once you have, number one, all of this fits in here. So you literally could pick this up and go. Love that. Because for my coffee shop mornings, I love to just have something small to bring with me, and this is perfect. The other cool thing is you can fit your paintbrushes. I don't know if this was intended for this, but they fit inside there perfectly. You could also, you have some room over here. You could maybe put a pencil, eraser, marker. It's perfect for me. I love this. I love to be able to just simple grab something, walk out the door and go. I most likely wouldn't use this sitting out and hiking. I would probably bring either my backpack, but I think this for just a quick on the go or when I go overnight is awesome. Love it. So with that being said, I'm going to do a little mushroom painting. So I'm just going to take that out of there. And again, what's really cool is this, if you buy MeiLiang, or even these will fit in here perfectly, of course, that's what came with it. But the MeiLiang pads, which I use a lot, the 100% cotton, they fit perfect in there. So there you go. And then I'm just going to, I don't think I'm even going to clip it because I don't think that's really needed. Let me show you really quick because this set is, to me, when I swatched it out, the same as this set and this one with the metallics in it. So you're getting the same colors, and even, so this is the MeiLiang, this is the 48 set, and this one is the MeiLiang, the metallics, which I love. But I wanted to show you because I find this kind of stuff so fascinating. So their professional set, let me find that here. Well, that one's a professional set, but hold on. Let's see, this is this. Where is the professional set? That's their floral palette. Well, now, of course, I can't find it. These are great, by the way. I love these swatch books for this exact reason. That's the MeiLiang. That's Winsor Newton. Those are the MIBs. Look at all of them I have in here. Here. Oh, no, that's the Paul Rubens metallic set, which that's basically what you're getting in this set. They have a 24 set with just the metallics. I love them. But I love that this other set, you also get the regular paints. So this is their metallic set. You get 24. As you can tell, I love Paul Rubens. I've been buying them for a long time. But you're getting those metallics in the regular Paul Rubens set. Here, no, that's MeiLiang. Well, can't seem to find it. But the colors of the professional kit, which is more like this, and the MeiLiang series is, to me, the colors are exactly the same with the student set. So just to throw that in there, although, yes, they're not, the student set is not going to have the light fastness, which means if you were to put it in a frame and light is hitting it, the sun is hitting it, they will fade. I do UV glass on all of my paintings I frame, and I don't put them in a place where they're going to get direct sunlight. And I have paintings from decades ago, and they're perfectly fine. All right. Let's go ahead and get started. Let me take a peek at what I'm filming here because I want to make sure there isn't a huge glare. Okay, so let's get our paints. I'll be using my brushes today. Okay, so I think that's pretty good. There we go. Okay, so let's paint that. I'm going to draw my little... It's fine, I have a micron pen here. I'm going to draw my little mushrooms, and then we'll go ahead and paint them. Mushrooms seem to be all the rage. And interesting, I was watching a program the other night, and it was in, I believe, Australia. And they showed these beautiful bright red mushrooms, which they said were poisonous. And they had white dots on them, and I thought they were so pretty. I think on this one, I'm actually going to, maybe, we'll see what I feel as I'm going here, add some pink in. I don't know, we'll see. Maybe add some dots in this one. And I'll probably go in with gouache to do these dots, so that they really show up. So that's enough dots for those. And then maybe one more because I like working in threes. And then I'll do some grass here at the bottom, something like that. Maybe even a tiny little mushroom here, just for interest. Although I don't like fours, things in even numbers. I like them in odd numbers. So I think I'll do one right here. Oh my goodness, that looks like a Hershey's Kiss, doesn't it? Okay, so there we go with that. And then I'll add grass maybe on underneath that. But I really wanted to show you these paints, although they're going to look really similar to their other MeiLiang student palette. I think I'll go ahead and use my 8 round, although this is kind of a large area, so I could almost go just to wet it with my big 16 round. These are from my brush set, by the way. And there's probably a few left. I don't know how many, but. So let's just wet our area, damp. We're just making it damp. We don't want it to have any puddles. So let's just dampen that. So it's just nice and shiny. I like working damp and damp. I do work really wet and wet sometimes, very intentionally, but for the most part, I work damp and damp. Now, I don't want to use this larger brush because I'm coloring or painting a smaller area. And this again is, I believe these are 7.5 by 7.5. I think that's the color or the size. And then let's go in with kind of like a reddish. Let's see. Now here's where I like to use my swatch sheet because I can go in, pull that out, and kind of want to go for that magenta. I like that color. So it's 1, 2, ooh, that's a pretty color too, deep magenta. So I'm gonna work in the reds. I love the MeiLiang reds, by the way. I think they have such pretty reds. That's a really pretty red, that deep magenta red. This might actually be madder red. Okay, so we've got that red in there, and I'm actually mixing a few here. We want to go in with a light wash first, just to kind of lay it down, and we can always go darker. So I'm loving that this is spreading like that. I've got a little bit of a puddle there, so I'm just going to dab that up a tiny bit. I got a little overzealous there. I was talking about those paints and it kind of, the paper dried. So I want to re-wet some of that. But I want this to be really washy because number one, it's organic. So I like going a little washier when it's organic. And number two, I'm going to add some other colors in there. If I decide I want some of the white dots, I'll just go in with gouache. Gouache is kind of like in between acrylic and watercolors, so it's a little bit more opaque. There we go. And let's see, maybe I will add in a little bit of the gold yellow. I already had it in my palette because I was playing with these earlier. Be careful with that that yellow, by the way, because cad yellow can be really pretty strong. So I'm just going to go in, kind of dab it around. I want it to mix and almost create some oranges in there, but look how pretty that is. Let's go in, let's get really funky here and go in with a little bit of, they've got that turkey blue, which you know I love. I love the turkey blue. They've got a Prussian blue here. Let's use just, I don't want to get too dark, but there is that kind of turkey blue. I love it. And adding it with this red, it's going to kind of turn purple a bit, which is totally cool. I love that. Isn't that fun? Just kind of letting, and if it hits the green, it's then going to turn, the yellow, it's going to turn green. So just adding in some water. Yeah, I like that. Can even dab in. Really cool, liking the color. Let's go with a little bit more red. Look at that. Isn't that fun? That is a cool mushroom. Okay, let's go into, and I think if you like using color masking fluid, you know, go for it. I'm not a huge fan. I have used it in the past, but I don't know. I always end up ripping my paper and all kinds of stuff. So I just kind of gravitate towards the gouache. I think what I will do is add a little bit of orange over here just to help it along. And I'm loving that I'm getting blooms. That does not bother me at all. I like that. There we go. If you don't like the blooms, you can either go in and soften the edges, or you could even tap in some water and it'll kind of soften that out. And then let's do our little stems here. So I'm going to use, let's see, what is their color? I think I will use, they have a Van Dyke brown and a burnt sienna. I'll kind of go between those two. So here they are. Let's see. Make sure I'm grabbing the right one. Yeah, these two here. I kind of use a variation of those anyway. I like that. Yeah. So I'm going to go in and do the same thing I did for the little cap here. And I'm just going to go in and put a really light coat on here. So going up here first with darker, because that's kind of shadowed, and then I'll rinse my brush a bit and just pull that down. We're just starting out with that light color first. Go around these little guys. There we go. Just a light coat. We can always go in and darken. There we go. And I might just soften that line at the bottom, so it's not too hard. There we go. Okay, so we've got that. I could even go in there with a little bit darker. So this is probably more like I'm gonna say a Van Dyke brown, and just tap in a bit underneath where it might be shadowed. Maybe down along one side. I think I'll even carry that down farther, thinking if the light's coming from this direction, this one might be shadowing this one up a little bit. So just putting that in, letting it spread there. Okay, let's do this little guy, and I think I'll do that one mostly red. Again, I don't really want to have to go around all those little spots if I don't have to. So I'm going to try and avoid them here. But there isn't too many, so I'm not going to get real picky because, like I said, I'll go over it with gouache, and the gouache will cover pretty well. Pick up a little bit of water to kind of soften that out. I'm liking this paper. It's not real textured, but I don't think it's hot press. I'm pretty sure it's cold press. It's drying a little quicker than normal, than my cold press might. And again, not being too picky about the little circles, because I can always go cover it with the opaqueness of the gouache. Can get a little tedious for me. I'm not a big detail person going around those dots. I think what I would maybe even consider using for those dots would be like a Q-tip, and kind of just dot them in. There we go. Okay. Make that side a little darker. And then I'll just blend that a bit with some water. There we go. Again, if I'm not too concerned about getting some mushrooms and some blooms and things, because to me, you know, flowers and things are very organic, so they're gonna have that look. There we go. Let's try another one of the reds. Yeah, that one's kind of cool. It's a little bit darker, just to add some interest. Might just tilt that a bit. If you do that and you're kind of like, oh my gosh, I'm not liking that, you can always just blot a little bit up, lift a little bit, but I'm kind of liking it. All right, let's see. Let's do this one. What color should we do it? I want to bring some of that blue in, because otherwise it's just going to look too, your eye's going to go to the blue and it's going to be like, that's it. So I don't want to do that. So let's go ahead and make this one kind of blue. I know it's not, who knows? They may have a blue mushroom. I wouldn't doubt it. Mushrooms are so interesting, aren't they? I have a girlfriend who forages them. She lives up north. And she's always posting pictures, and I'm like, oh my goodness, how do you know what's poisonous and what isn't? Okay, I'm gonna grab a little bit more of that blue paint. Let's see, I think it was that one I did, yep. And just tap it in, let it kind of do its thing. I love that washiness. Look how pretty that is. So boy, we have got some colorful mushrooms in there. I'm gonna go ahead and go in here and do a little bit of a brown stem again. I don't necessarily want to touch into that red, so I'm avoiding that a bit. We'll go around this little guy here. There we go. And then let that kind of sit and dry. And then let's do this one. I'm going to add a little bit darker. And maybe even tap in some of that dark. That's the Van Dyke brown. Over here. And it's just going to help give it that feeling that it's turning on its side. Now, this one I did do a little bit of a shadow with the light coming this way. This one I shadowed the opposite side because I'm kind of feeling like maybe the light came from this direction. Okay, let's color or paint in this one. Just like that. So I'm really liking these paints, but you know, they're so similar, if not identical to their MeiLiang set, that the MeiLiang set we all have, that it's like painting with the same. I mean, I noticed the colors are the same. They did change the color on the tin though, which is kind of interesting. Okay, so again, that light coming. So I'm going to set in here. There we go. Okay, I like that. Once these dry, we'll go ahead and I'm gonna do those other two little ones. I think I'll go ahead and work on this. So I might do a tiny bit of yellow ochre mixed into that one. Ooh, I always forget that yellow ochre. It's really powerful, guys. So water that down quite a bit. And then let's go in and start laying down a wash. And I'm making sure for the most part my brush strokes are following the lines here of that I drew on, just because sometimes those brush strokes are going to show up and you want them to match. Now that's a little wet, so I'm going to avoid that a tiny bit because I just touched there. I'm not going to freak out. Just going to avoid that a bit. And once this starts drying, I will go in and I'm just doing a little bit of a shadow there. I will go in and draw in some of those little lines. We could have even gone in and scraped them in, and it would leave a mark that's kind of cool too. That's another cool way to do it. So I'm assuming the light is kind of coming through here and hitting back here, and this is a little dark because it's shadowed by this one. So I am going to do that actually. Let me find, I'm going to use this to scrape with. You can use a credit card, or sometimes brushes have an angle on the end and you can use that. So let me just scrape that in. So see how it's making those lines? Pretty cool, right? Because the paint kind of settles down into there. And then I'm adding a few more lines near the bottom. Excuse me. Let me find, oh, here it is. I'm gonna go in around the base here and just add in a little bit darker. More like the Van Dyke brown. I might even, you know what I think I'll do to kind of bring the blue in is I'm gonna use a little bit of the blue from the mushroom in there. And that way it'll kind of tie in. So the blue's here, the blue will be here, and the blue will be there. And maybe we'll even make these blue, or maybe those yellow. They need to be yellow. So I'm gonna tap in around here, right around the base, and let it kind of spread out on its own. What it's actually doing is going into those little scrape marks. So I like that. And then, where'd I put it? Here it is. I will maybe draw it down into the base of that stem. And with a dry rinsed brush, I'll just push and pull, kind of bring that down. Yeah, look at that. I like that. I feel like it needs a little bit more blue in there, so I just picked up a tiny bit more of that blue so that it really ties it in. Yeah, there we go. See that? I like that. Okay. And you can see here where I scraped, and it brought that in as well. I'm going to take that blue as well and just kind of create a bit of a shadow like that. And the shadow gets a little bit more as it goes over here behind that other mushroom. Like that. Maybe it's really dark in the background there. And then just with a clean damp brush, just soften those lines. There we go. Yeah, I like that. Let's add a little bit more of that brown, blue. Ooh, yeah, see that? That really creates this shadowy effect. Okay, let's paint our little guys here, and I think I'll use that yellow. Don't want the lemony yellow. I want it to be a little bit warmer. There we go. That's pretty lemony. Maybe that one can be, I'll tap in a little bit of orange. I think burnt sienna actually would have been really pretty. Let's add a little bit of that in. Yeah, that's kind of pretty. Trying to make these kind of colorful. There we go. Then a damp brush and just push and pull that. Create the little stem. Look how cute. Now I almost feel like I want to add a little bit of a very, very, very light wash of that yellow. Maybe along here. Yeah, that's pretty. I like that. I like to bring the coherency of all the colors together. That way your eye doesn't get stuck anywhere. So I felt like, you know, those yellows down there were pretty bright and your eye almost gets stuck there and then it might move here. So this yellow kind of pulls it up in here. I'm going to add just a tiny bit over here where the sun's shining. Like that. Yeah, I like that. It really draws the whole painting together. And then maybe a little bit here. Oh, so nice. Love it. Okay. Now for, let's see, what brush do I want to use? I want to do some green at the bottom here. I'm going to go ahead and grab in this palette. I think this is the olive. Yeah, I want some of that. And maybe just a little of the sap green. I'm not going to go into that really, really light green but I will mix typically, and you'll find you have your green go-to. Typically mine is a sap green and an olive green. And I'm just gonna do some grass here. Before I do that, I think what I will do as well is add a little bit of maybe some brown at the bottom here, just to make it look almost like dirt, like that. There we go. Oh yeah, I love these. Aren't these colors great? Again, they look identical to me as the Paul Rubens MeiLiang kit that we've all been playing with for a while. And then now I'm gonna go in and make sure I have green on there. Yes, I do. And you could actually, for the grass, you could also use that angle brush because it gets such a fine, fine edge on there. But I'm gonna play with this a bit. So just flicking my hand. And once this dries, I will do some more down in there. Just flicking. There we go. Yeah, that's fun. And I'm enjoying this paper. Again, I'm gonna just double check with my rep over there. I believe they said it was cold pressed, but it seems a little smoother definitely than Artisto. So not sure about that. Let's see. Just some little small ones that are darker in value. So the darker the value, they're gonna pop out in front. The lighter in value is gonna kind of go backwards. And we could put in some grass there. And there we go. I think I would wait here for, oh, you know what? I wonder if we should add some little, where's my gouache? Let me find my gouache here and add in some little white dots. Here it is. Typically keep it close. I'm going to put a little bit in my dish here. I don't typically keep the gouache in my palette because it can dry up. It doesn't reactivate or reconstitute as easy as watercolors. This is the Mission gouache, by the way, titanium white. Titanium white covers a lot better. So I could do some little dots in here with this. There we go. And look how well it covers. That's the titanium. And when I'm done with this, I make sure I wash my brush really good. I used to use a separate brush for my gouache. I don't really do that so much anymore. As long, you know, I have brush cleaner and all that kind of good stuff, so I just do that. And that seems to work well for me. I've never had a problem as long as I wash my brush really well. So there's some fun little dots. You could have even maybe done pink dots, you know. I'm always trying to think of different ways to paint that are a little bit out of the ordinary. Just filling in those dots, but look how it covers over any of that red. It goes right over it. It's very opaque. The titanium white, Chinese white is going to be different. Chinese white is, I don't do this, but you could mix with your paints or use it just to lighten something, but it's not as opaque as the titanium white, and it's just not going to cover as well. So almost done here. Not sure if the blue one, I want to put dots on that one as well. Get all those cleaned up. I need a little bit more white here, I think. There we go. So fun. We could do some dots on the little blue guy too. Yeah, that's fun. And let's see, what else might I want to do here? I think this is about dry. So we could add in some more grass. Let me show you, where's my angle brush? You could definitely use this angle brush to create that, the little grass. And I'm actually going to use a little more pigment because these are in front. So just tapping in with the edge of my brush. There we go. Tap in a few more, maybe in front of here. So you can really get that nice clean edge there. And I think I'm about done. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you'll give this a try. Like I said, I couldn't share Paul Rubens enough with you. I just love them. I think, you know, the products are so great. And maybe because I was I was going to darken a little bit under there. You know, always painted with Winsor Newtons because that was just what I was told to paint with. And when I found the Paul Rubens, because all of my students, you know, not everybody can afford Winsor Newtons. And for my volume of painting, it just didn't make sense to me. There you go. Now, again, if I was to do a commission or something, I would use it. I think I'm going to darken in a little bit over here, just to bring in that shadowy look. There we go. Yeah, I like that. I love this blue color. Really a cool color. All right, there you go. Have fun, everybody. You could even add metallics to this, but that's another time. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you give it a try. And please look into this little guy here. I'm in love with it. It's just so easy to grab and go. It's perfect for me. It's perfect size. And I will see you all later. Most of all, have fun, and thanks for being a part of my little community here, guys. Happy painting.